guys, welcome back to another how to beat live low stakes poker topic or series or video within a series, if you will. Today's topic, dealing with donk bets or leads. I've had quite a few questions or DMs, interaction in general that has inquired about this topic. And as far as the live low stakes games, it's pretty simple, guys. There's a few different ways that we exploit these because I think they're very unbalanced. So typically what you see in a live low stakes environment, if you do face a lead or a donk bet, is it tends to be typically one of two things. One, it tends to be a lot of top pair. A lot of top pair that just thinks because they have top pair they should bet. They want to get value. They want to get protection. They kind of want to see where they're at also as well. And that leads me into the second part, or the second reason that they bet, or the second type of hand that you'll see. And that tends to be typically like a pocket pair that's worse than top pair. You'll see on boards like Jack 7-4, you'll see a lot of like pocket nines, pocket eights that do lead into you. Again, for similar reasons, like they kind of want thin value. They kind of want protection. They don't want to face a large bet. They'd like to just take down the pot now and get you to fold. Like in their mind, you have a ton of ace king. Apparently, only ace king, according to some. So that is typically the range you'll see. Now, it doesn't mean that you won't ever see sets. It doesn't mean that you won't ever see draws, for example. Those are rarer, though. I don't tend to see those often enough to really worry about them all that much. If we do see them, then that is something to take note of. But when I typically am led into or donked into, if you will, and if I do think it's somebody that is, so like it's weird, their range is capped, so to speak, most of the time. Like they can't have better than one pair a lot of the time, but they also don't really have air, so it's kind of merged and capped all in one. There are two ways we can really go about it. One is, if you believe it's an opponent, like if you have enough info on this opponent, if you believe it's somebody that is capable of bet folding top pair, you've seen them bet fold in a lot of spots with one pair, they just tend to believe their opponents, then this is somebody that we should attack with relentless aggression, almost like always raising with, if your heads up, this is especially true, like you would be able to argue potentially raising with your entire range. That's how drastic of an adjustment that we could and should perhaps make. That's what the solver would say a lot of the time if your opponent is capped and they are capable of folding a one-pair hand, if they're capable of folding a cap range. Now, a lot of times in the live low-stakes games, you'll get an opponent that, it's not always their fault with this, like kind of maybe like a rightfully so kind of thing. They will get really sticky with top pair. But a lot of players will not fold top pair. They won't fold like one of those pocket pair types of hands. If that's the case, we do need to be a little bit more cautious about just raising so liberally, if you will. What we can do is we can go a little bit more polarized. Like we would raise hands that are better than top pair, and then we would include some bluffs, but I would think some bluffs that have some equity, some barreling opportunities on future streets, so you're not just taking pure air and just burning money by raising with an opponent that's just never going to fold. So I would say like more semi-bluffs. Like if you do have like open-enders, some flush draws, maybe some gutters with like a couple overcards, maybe a backdoor flush draw type of situation, one of those like multi-component combos, like where you have multiple draws, then those are ones you could definitely consider in that situation if your opponent is not going to fold a whole lot. The other way that we do exploit this, though, and a lot of players don't think about the rest of the game tree, is what happens. So if you have an opponent that leads into you with top pair or a lot of pocket pair hands, then what ends up happening when they check? What is their range now? How does it shift? What does their range look like when they check? Well, if I think that they can still have top of their range, which is like, it only makes up like 1% of the range a lot of the time, guys, like sets or two pairs or better, essentially. So they can have that, but then the middle, or kind of like the top third of their range, excluding the very top, is pretty void. Like it essentially ends up being very rare two pairs or better. and then it is a lot of really weak pairs or like a lot of air and perhaps some draws. So if we don't think we have like enough of a nut advantage to bet really large when check two, then we're just going to bet smaller, but we're going to bet with everything. Because if our opponent basically, if we remove all of our opponent's top pair combos, all of their decent one pair combos, if you will, from their range when they check, then there's nothing they can defend with, especially over multiple streets. It'd be a situation where I would bet small, planning to likely barrel as an exploit with an incredible amount of my range on future streets. So those are two ways to go about exploiting these unbalanced leads or donk bets. And look, guys, it can get a little bit more complex if you have an opponent that is a little balanced. In No Limit Hold'em, there aren't typically a ton of spots where we should be leading, but there are some. That's something that we will perhaps cover more on the training site over at archcitypoker.com. But yeah, just for a general short video for you guys that are having troubles with donk bets or leads, that are struggling with them. Your opponent, again, to recap, tends to be capped but merged, so they have a lot of one pair stuff, a lot of top pair hands. If it's somebody that you think can bet fold significantly, then we need to raise a ton of our hands when we're heads up. When we're multi-way, we need to be a little bit more cautious, obviously, be a little bit more picky about what we choose to, in fact, bluff with. But we would obviously raise hands that are better than top pair and then include some semi-bluffs if we think our opponent is capable or is incapable of folding a whole lot. But then when they check, we need to attack with relentless aggression. Doesn't mean that we always need to size up. If you think you have a massive nut advantage, you can size up significantly so. But you would probably err on the side of betting something smaller and just betting very frequently because your opponent just has a lot of air in their range. They're not going to be able to hold up. So, yeah, pretty much covers it. If there are any questions or comments, let me know in the comments section. Like the video, please. Subscribe to the channel. Come visit us at archcitypoker.com where you can get more content like this. So I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.